Hey guys, this is Nathan, and welcome back to another episode of Feed the Beast Infinity Evolved. So, in the last episode, we were getting going on Botania, but I don't think I want to work on that right away today because, I've set up a little thing here for turning the eucalyptus wood into charcoal, and I've been letting that run, but I'm getting really tired of chopping the trees. So I wanted to get a planter and a harvester going, and I started looking into what it's going to take to do that, and it's just ridiculous. So the first thing is I went ahead and made a carpenter because we're going to need that for, the parts to make the machine frame here. So we need this basic control circuit, and that's made in a carpenter with redstone and tin with a little bit of water. So, we'll need that, but we don't need it just yet. So the next thing is on that machine frame, we need crushed obsidian. So to make crushed obsidian, we need the Railcraft Crusher. So I've got the recipe set up here. It's just pistons, diamonds, and some blocks of steel. We need 3 recipes of this. And there we go. Okay, so now this thing is a multi-block structure. It goes 3 by 3 or 2 by 2 by 3, I think. So if we lay this out here, and we do not want to get on top of this thing once it's put together. So there we go, we've got our rock crusher, and it's getting power from that generator right there. But I am going to go ahead and place some power cables on top of it here, and then we'll connect that up to our main network so that we can get power from all of our generators. And also I'm going to do the same thing here with the carpenter, because it's only getting power from one generator as well. So now we'll go ahead and toss our obsidian in here, and this will make crushed obsidian, and I think it has a chance of giving obsidian dust, and boy, that thing is loud. So I'm going to let that run for a little bit. Now the next thing is we need to get set up for that, control circuit. So we'll just go ahead and put a little bit of water in this thing. Where can I get water quickly? So we'll throw some water in our carpenter here, and now we needed tin and redstone. So we'll go ahead and grab a little bit of tin, and in one of these here I have, right there, we have redstone here. So we're going to go ahead and put in a tin, and then we need redstone down the sides. That'll make our control circuit, and that will make those up. So the next thing on that, we need our iron chipset, some tin gears, dense refined iron plates. So that's our next step. So we need to take some of our refined iron plates, put those in the compressor, and then we'll need to make some tin gears. So let's see here, how much tin do we have? Not very much, but that should, actually that's perfect. So we'll go ahead and drop this tin in here and move our liquid transfer node over here. So now that will automatically make, I think it's 4 tin gears for us. Might only be 2. But so we've got 4 of these basic control circuits now. So we'll go ahead and put those in our assembly table with some iron chipsets. Then we need the obsidian. And what else did we need? We need the tin gears and the dense refined iron plates. So here's our dense refined iron plates and tin gears. Saw at least one of them being formed there. There we go. So we've got 4 of these. We'll go ahead and drop this in there, and we're going to make that. So, I don't know, you may have seen there I had the upgrade for the chests. I have been upgrading some of my chests. You can see this one here is a diamond chest now. I'm using it for the Botania stuff. I have an iron chest down here for the ore stuff, and down in the underbelly of the base I have an iron chest for my gems and such. So I've been doing a little bit of upgrading for storage. I've also added a whole bunch more of the better barrels. And pretty much anything that I've got a lot of, I've been putting in the better barrels. Now, I am running into a bit of an issue here. The netherrack is just about full. The cobblestone I have been compressing. So as you can see, I've been compressing cobble into single compressed, into double, and then into triple. and I'm just about ready to make some quadruple compressed cobble. And I know there's going to be some recipes later on that we're going to need that, so we'll just kind of keep that in mind. So this is going to take a little while to make this up. We're not getting enough power from our generators by the looks of it. So, yep, I'm going to let this run. We'll get those machine frames, and then we will continue on from there. So I have been looking through the recipes here in order to be able to make our planter and harvester, and wow, what a rabbit hole. That's all that I can say. So if we take a look here, we need to make a harvester and a planter. So the planter, we need copper gears, redstone reception coil, machine frame, pistons, plastic sheets, and a flower pot. Sounds pretty simple until we get to the plastic sheets. So the plastic sheets require compressed sawdust, raw plastic, and rocket fuel. So the compressed sawdust is sawdust crafted together into 8, or a ring of sawdust. Well, the sawdust, we can make it in a pulverizer, or we can use a sawmill. Well, I happen to have tons of this, mahogany and the eucalyptus wood, and I would like to be able to turn those into planks. The only way to do that is in a sawmill, so I went ahead and set up the pattern for a sawmill, which is just 2 copper gears, machine frame, some planks, and an axe and a reception coil. So we'll go ahead and make that and set it up here, but this is not even close to the end of where we're going to be going. So we're going to go ahead and hook this up to our power network as well. And now we can make planks out of this stuff. So if we grab a stack of our mahogany wood, go ahead and drop this in here, and we'll get, I think it's 5 or 6 planks for each one, plus some sawdust. So we'll let this run, and we'll get, looks like 64 sawdust. We're getting a sawdust with every one. But now comes the rocket fuel. So if we look at the rocket fuel, this is made in a vat with hooch, redstone, and gunpowder, and that will make the rocket fuel. Well, hooch is made with some type of a vegetable. I guess we can use our poisonous potatoes for that, water, and sugar in a vat. So now we look at the vat. So the vat requires a fluid tank, a cauldron, a machine chassis, furnace, some electrical steel, and yeah, okay, this is where it starts getting real bad, because we have tons of machines to make. So the electrical steel by itself, we need to make an alloy smelter from Ender.io. And then we need silicon. Well, silicon we get by pulverizing sand, or we can run it through a sag mill with clay or a whole bunch of other stuff. But yeah, so we need to make a pulverizer. Well, the next thing is the machine chassis for Ender.io requires basic capacitors. These need signalum nuggets, which means we need molten signalum, which this is made with silver, copper, and destabilized redstone. So now we need a magma crucible. Wow. This just keeps getting worse and worse, and I haven't even gone through all of it yet. The other thing is we need the fluid tank. Pretty simple. Oh, sorry, had to sneeze. So, yeah, I'm going to be crafting for a little while here. And I suppose I've got set up here for at least 5 more of the machine frames. And I'm sure we're going to be needing those. So I'm going to get a few more things crafted up here, and I will be back. We'll figure out what's going on. Well, all I can say is the deeper I go, the worse it gets. So next up, we need a pulverizer. I've made a couple other things in the meantime. So I've got my thermionic fabricator here. I went ahead and made some of the lapis electron tubes in there. And we got the signalum and the redstone chipsets, so that will allow us to make our basic capacitors. So the next thing that we need, what are we trying to make even? A planter? So the planter, the plastic sheets, rocket fuel, So then we need a vat. So if we look at the vat, the machine chassis, now we need lumium. So lumium we need to make some energized glowstone and some powdered ores. So that's why I've got the pulverizer now. So I'm not even sure where I'm going to put this thing. I guess I'll just put it right here. We'll hook this up to our power network as well. And as you can see, we've finally completed all of the machine chassis. Or machine frames, I guess. So we'll go ahead and drop these off here. So now we've got our pulverizer. I'm going to put this to no output, and we're going to pulverize a little bit of coal because, yeah, I found out that to make the vat, I think it was the vat. No, it wasn't the vat. It was another one. But we need to make some IC2 machines, and that's going to require some carbon mesh. And yeah, that requires pulverized coal. We're going to get some sulfur out of this, which is nice. But, yep, I think I will get a little bit more crafting done here, and then we will come back. So I thought it might be a good idea to rearrange my machines here so that they're not so hard to figure out what's going on and where. And to that end, I think I want to get a little bit of power storage as well. Now, originally I was going to make these immersive engineering capacitors. Now, these store, I think it's 100,000 RF each. But I figured, you know, we've got these Ender IO capacitor banks. These things will hold 1 million RF. And they're really not that hard to make now that I've got the ability to make these basic capacitors. So, yeah, if I can remember which one I've got it in here. So I'm going to make 2 of these, and we're going to set these down here in between the center of all of these generators. So now what I'm going to do, looks like we are inputting, but we're going to configure this, and we want to, how do we rotate this? Like this. So we want the bottom to be an input, and we want the top to be an input. And then we're going to, whoops, then we're going to go here on the face, and we're going to turn this to an output. And now we should be able to hook our low voltage connector to that, and we can power our machines from there. So, I think this should be giving power to these now. So yes, it is most definitely giving power to the thermionic fabricator, albeit slowly. But we are transferring power out. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the back one if I can hit it here. So we're going to configure this. Looks like we get to configure the whole thing in one shot. So we want to configure all of our sides to input, with the exception of that one. And so that will allow all of these generators to push their power into this thing. And so we're getting quite a bit of power. What's it saying? We're gaining 60 RF a tick. So that's not too bad considering. But that also means we're not getting full power because we're supposed to be getting 40 RF a tick out of these 2 furnace generators on the side. And that means we're not. So that's kind of odd. Now another thing that I've noticed is we have this little cable set up right here, but this is not hooked to the furnace generator. But we're still getting power into these cables. So these furnace generators will power these immersive engineering cables even without being connected to them. So that's kind of interesting to see as well. I'm not entirely sure why we're not getting our full... that should be, well, should be 5, 5, 5, and 5, so that's 20 plus 80. We should be getting 100 RF a tick, and we're only getting 60, so I'm a little concerned about that. But, yeah, we've got that. Now, our next thing is we have here a fluid transposer. So, to be able to make our lumium, we need to be able to put the energized glowstone that I have here in the magma crucible into a bucket. So we need to bring this over here. We're going to get our input on the side, and I guess I need to make a new bucket because it took a bucket to make that. So we need 3 iron plates. Where can we craft this? Over here. We've got so many things set up already, it's not even funny. So now we drop this in here. Are we... let's fill. Wait. We have no power. Okay. So we'll get a little power into this. And I think we're going to go ahead and hook this set here up to that as well so that we get more power. So there we go. So now we have a bucket of energized glowstone. Now here in this iron chest I have some silver and tin. And now we need a crafting table. So the energized glowstone, then we need 3 tin and 1 silver, and that will make our lumium blend. So now this stuff we need to smelt. So we'll go ahead and smelt that up, and that will make our lumium ingots. So what were we making that for now? Right here, the machine chassis. So we'll be able to make that now here in just a little bit. And we're getting closer. So we're going to go ahead and grab these 2 lumium ingots. So now we need a couple of the capacitors. The lumium ingots go top and bottom. We'll take a couple of the capacitors here, and then what else did we need there? We need a machine chassis and some iron bars. Or machine frame. We're making a machine chassis. Okay, so iron bars, is there a special recipe for that? Let's find out. Nope. Standard vanilla recipe, that's good. So we happen to have 6 iron there. We'll just go ahead and use our tinker's table here. So we'll get these, and we'll put our iron bars in the corners. And there we go. We got our machine chassis. So now we need the fluid tanks, which is basically the same thing. We need some iron here. I guess I didn't even think about the fact that I've got iron in here. So that's in the wrong sequence, though. And then we need some glass, and that will make our fluid tanks. So we need 2 of those. Then we need the electrical steel. So now we need to make an alloy smelter. Okay. So on the alloy smelter, we need that machine chassis again, and now is when we get into the industrial craft stuff. So we need to make some electric furnaces, which is an iron furnace with an electronic circuit, and the iron furnace is a furnace with iron plates. And then also we need the induction smelter, which is an electric furnace with an advanced machine chassis, and this is where we need the carbon plates, which come from the raw carbon mesh in the compressor, and that's raw carbon fiber, which is pulverized coal in a 4x4 grid. So I'm going to craft up a little bit more stuff, and we will build that stuff. Well, I'm in the middle of trying to get everything figured out here, and I'm having to use the rollers and the other IC2 machines a lot, and I'm getting really tired of how slow they are, so I figured I would make some overclocker upgrades. So the overclocker upgrades take these 10K coolant cells, some insulated copper cable, and the electronic circuit. The coolant cells is tin plates around a coolant cell. So the coolant cell is filled with IC2 coolant, and I looked and looked and looked through NEI and could not find a thing on how to make this. So I went ahead and checked on the wiki, and it says that I make this in the canning machine with some lapis, water and lapis. So I went ahead and got everything set up here to make a canning machine. So we're going to go ahead and set this down now. And once again, we're running out of space. So this is not getting power right now, so I need to run power up over the top. Okay, so yeah, let's see here. If we go here, and maybe I can run this down to here. Yep, okay. Now the other thing is, I was a little concerned about only getting 60 RF a tick into the capacitor bank. Well, I figured out why. It was this thing. So the thermionic fabricator has a resting load of 40 RF a tick. So if you make a thermionic fabricator, make sure that you have a way to disconnect it from your power source, because that thing will just drain your energy. So we now have power in this canning machine. So now what we need is some empty cells. I think it was empty cells. Well, I may have to take a look here. So it's enrich. We want to enrich the tanker cell. Okay, so now we can put our empty cells in. We need some water. So we'll grab a little water and put that in here as well. Or do we need to fill these with water? I don't know. Canning. Drain from cell into tank. Fill cell from tank. Okay, so this is putting water into the system. I'm not entirely sure that I'm doing this right. Okay, so now we have some water in there. So now if we go to the enrich, that needs to be over here, doesn't it? Well, let me do a little bit more research on this and I'll be right back. So I think I've got this figured out here. So in the canning machine, there's a button here to switch the tanks. So putting a water bucket in here will fill this tank, then we can switch it back, and then we get where we need. So now we need 8 lapis per bucket of water here. And now we can see that it is making the coolant, and it should make us some coolant cells. Now, if I remember right, we need 3 of the coolant cells per... So we've got coolant cell there. So we need 3 per 2 overclockers. So I have enough lapis here for 2 overclockers, and then I will just use those to make additional machines later. So there we go, there's our coolant cells. So now the next thing we need is tin plates, which I have some of those on me. So we need 4 tin plates and the coolant cells in the middle. Now this makes the 10K coolant cells. Now these don't stack, so we got to be careful. So there's those. Then we need an electronic circuit and 2 insulated copper wires. So those should be over here. So we'll go ahead and make a couple of insulated copper wires. And, oh, we need a whole bunch more of those. So we'll go ahead and just make the rest of those up. Make up a whole bunch of the wire. And then we need insulated wires top and bottom. We need to make sure that we keep 2 of those. Iron plate in the center. And then redstone on each side. There we go, electronic circuit. And then we need that. And these, and there we go, 2 overclocker upgrades. So I'm going to put these into the metal former first. So we can drop these in here. Now this will make that go tremendously faster. So if we watch here, that's moving reasonably fast. I take them out, it slows down. So yep, this is going to help a lot. Right now I'm making a whole bunch of plates because I need to make mixed metal ingots next. So yeah, but I guess I did make a macerator. I had to do that to turn our lapis into lapis powder for that coolant cells. So yeah, that's just crushed obsidian, cobblestone, the basic machine casing, and an electronic circuit. And that's once again the iron chipset surrounded by iron plates. Not that big of a deal. So yep, I'm going to make up a few more overclockers, get some more resources together, and I will be right back. So after an awful long time of crafting, now we are getting to the, well, closer to the end of this rabbit hole of making machines so that we can make what we need to make. So I got a whole bunch of the overclocker upgrades. I made a whole bunch of them and put them all over the place. I also made an extractor so that I could run my, right here, the rubber wood through there, and I get the industrial craft rubber out of that. So just drop this in here and you can see we get 1 ball of rubber out of every piece of wood. We also get 1 of these raw rubber from each chunk of wood when we cut it down. So yeah, we effectively get 2 pieces of rubber for every piece of wood that we cut. So that's good. So I'm just going to place this stuff in here. This is where that goes anyway. So, yep, I've got that. Also, it is really nice to be able to see here in this Ender IO whether we're gaining or losing power. You know, right now we're plus 16 RF a tick. If I put anything in this metal former, man, that thing takes a lot of power. But, I mean, yeah. We lose a lot of power when that thing's running. But I went ahead and set up this transfer node, put a world interaction upgrade in it, so it's sucking up water and pushing it into the canning machine, and that made it real easy to make the coolant. And maybe a little later we will work on getting the distilled water, because the distilled water, instead of taking 8 of the lapis dust, only takes 1 to make the coolant. That would be nice, but that's going to be something that we have to do a lot more crafting on. So the next thing that we're going to try to make is the alloy smelter. So the first thing, we need a basic machine casing. And then we bring that over here, and this is where all of this stuff is now coming together. So now I have an advanced alloy, carbon fiber, refined iron plates. Now the advanced alloy is mixed metal ingot in the compressor, and that is iron plates, bronze plates, and tin plates to make 2 of those. So that's where we get that. And I think I talked about this carbon plate already, but that is the raw carbon mesh in the compressor. That is 2 raw carbon fiber put together, and that is the coal powder put in the 2x2 grid. So, yep, we're finally getting somewhere. So now this gives us an advanced machine casing. And now we'll put this in here with an electric furnace and some copper. Now this electric furnace is an iron furnace with an electronic circuit and some redstone. The iron furnace is a regular furnace with iron plates around it. So that's going to give us an induction furnace. And then we're going to bring that over here and put it in with this stuff. So we've got a basic capacitor, machine chassis, crushed obsidian, and 2 electric furnaces. And that gives us our alloy smelter. So this thing, I think I'm just going to place right here on the face of the, whatever, what? It's not going to let me output? Well, okay, whatever. So we won't put it right there. We'll put it right here on the side of the extractor. And now we need to grab a couple of the wire things. So we'll go ahead and put this on there. So now we have our alloy smelter, and now we can go a little bit further. So we were trying to make a planter. So to make that, then we need the rocket fuel. So I think we need the vat. Okay, so the vat, we need the electrical steel. Yep, here we go. So now we need pulverized coal, silicon, and iron. So silicon we will get by pulverizing sand. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab a stack of sand and put that in the pulverizer. Where is the pulverizer? There it is. So that should give us the silicon. And then we will need the coal dust as well. And I think I think I crafted all of that into carbon mesh. So I'm going to let this pulverize up. I'll put that stuff into the alloy smelter and get it cooked, and then we'll come back and take a look at the vat. Alright, so we're ready to make this vat now. So first off, we have to make a cauldron, and that is iron plates. So we're going to make that, and that goes here. So we've got the electrical steel, the fluid tanks, a machine chassis, and a furnace with the cauldron. That makes the vat. So we're going to place this thing, for now, right here so that it gets water. And now what we need to do here, let's see here. So we need to look up hooch. So hooch is made with some type of a vegetable or fruit or something and sugar. And I was going to use apples, but I see the poisonous potatoes have a really high return. So I'm going to use those. So we're going to put in the poisonous potatoes and some sugar. And now this should make hooch. Am I missing something? Oh, power. Okay. Yeah, that would make a bit of a difference. So we're going to go ahead and hook this up to our power network. And there we go. So now we are making hooch. So this is going to take a little while, and basically what I will do is I am going to take, let's see here, I've got some of these open blocks tanks. I'm going to place this right next to it and see if it will just go directly into that. I should be able to configure it here to push on that side, so that will now, yep, there we go. So we're getting hooch into there now. Whoops. So I guess it would appear that it is constantly making it. We've got 2 buckets worth already. So I'm going to go ahead and break that tank back off, and we'll place it down here and then remove it again. So what I'm going to do after this fills this tank, and I might need the second tank, but once we get that filled up, then we're going to change this to where we are running the hooch through. And let's see here, the uses on the hooch is gunpowder and redstone to make rocket fuel. So that's what we're going to be looking at next. So I'm going to let this all go, and we'll get our plastic yet. So we've got a very good amount of the hooch here, so yep, I think we're ready for this. I've got this set up to where we're just pulling out of the tanks into the vat, moved it over here, and now we've got the input tank full of hooch. So now we need gunpowder and redstone in here, and this will start making our rocket fuel. So this is going to take a little while, and then once we get that, we'll be able to put that into somewhere here, right here, and make our plastic sheets. So yeah, that's going to be what I'm going to be doing here, but unfortunately I have run out of time. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed the episode, be sure to give me a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!